said for 4 days, it went for 4 days, that no one would show up to their fishing job.
Now, what countries are these we're talking about?
This was Cote d'Ivoire, Ghana. This was Togo. There was some fishermen from Eastern Africa as well.
You've also talked about Zimbabwe and Nigeria locking horns with TELSA over the export of lithium. Over the export of lithium.
Man, for the batteries.
Yeah, for the batteries.
Oh
yeah.
my.
So lithium. Primarily, the lithium market, the need for lithium because of electric vehicles has exploded.
Correct.
And places like Australia, China, Argentina, those are places where most of the lithium has come from. But they're maxed out right now. They can't make any more. So we have to start exploring for more lithium if we really want to see all these cars go electric. Where are we going for natural resources when we can't find them? We're always going to Africa and finding where it's at, right? That's what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so the deal we've always done, we've always known what you do is when you go to Africa, you go find the leader. There's your chalet over in Switzerland. Go ahead, sign this paperwork. Go ahead, let's take all this thing, let's strip mine, all this stuff. And then they were shocked when they said no. Like what? Like you're not supposed to say no to us.
So wait, so the Zimbabwe, that's Mnangagwa, and the Nigerian leader said no. I think it might have been Buhari at that time.
Yes. So they said we'll cut a deal with you. You're going to do part of your value manufacturing chain right here in our country, and we will allow you to have access to the lithium, and then you can have all of your batteries. And the first reaction was, you can't do this. We want to do the manufacture where we want to do it. But eventually, when they saw that they are going to actually stick with their position, that they've started to make negotiations. Like, we'll build the factories. Okay, fine, whatever, guys. We wanted to just take it for free and whatever, for a few pennies on the dollar, but whatever. We'll build your little factories. But look what happened there, right? It was just a little bit of a negotiation, just a little bit of pushback. This is like the bully. If you punch him in the nose, he walks away and never bothers you again. So what Zimbabwe has already said is that we're not punks. And that means that every deal that they get after where they've punched the bully in the nose is going to be slightly better than it otherwise would be.
Correct.
You don't think Uganda's looking at that? You don't think Cote d'Ivoire's looking at that?
They're all seeing it.
Angola?
Everyone's
looking at that.
Everybody's
As
looking
they said, oh man, they folded that quickly? Maybe we'll go back and negotiate a little harder next time.
Or look at what we currently have, and if it's not set in stone, we need to come back and be like, hey, we need to renegotiate this thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I guess, like, talking about what Washeke was asking, what we don't see, is we don't appreciate these small wins. Yeah. Because sometimes we want to see change happen overnight, but there are these small wins that maybe are not coming at the pace that we want, but they're happening. As we speak, because even what we've talked about, I'm sure a lot of people are not familiar that this has been happening.
There was actually a really good story that was completely omitted from the news. I thought it was one of the biggest stories of the year, which was the African fishing negotiations and the African fishing strike. So, give you a little background on this story. So, basically, West Africa provides a lot of the fishermen who fish in the Indian Ocean and the Atlantic Ocean, and they are paid very low wages. Essentially, they were being paid less than $2,000 a month. They're finding people in the most vulnerable areas because this is not a super high skill job, but it's a high risk job. So if you're in a bad spot and you need to make money, you can go join the fishing boats.
Is it like those Alaska fishing?
It's very similar, similar. A lot of people think of the Alaska fishermen as being dangerous just because it's cold. No, it's dangerous because it's fishing. It's dangerous because you're out in the open water
and that water can switch on you in a second.
Absolutely.
And if the wind comes and picks it up, trust me, Ali, living around water, I lose relatives all the time. It's like, oh, the guys went out to fish and they never came back. What do you mean they never came back? They died. Huh?
Now,
wow.
Yeah.
Now, there was always a person who would be desperate enough to do this high-risk job. So this kind of would keep the wages low because if you're not going to take my job for $200 a month, I'll just go to the next desperate person and I'll just get him.
Eventually, I'll find somebody.
You'll
so
find
wait,
someone.
it was only $200 a month.
It was $200 a month. It was actually $195 was the average wage. Oof. And fortunately, we have the age of social media. We have WhatsApp. We have Facebook groups. And the fishermen started to connect. And they organized a strike. and they actually said for 4 days, it went for 4 days, that no one would show up to their fishing job.
Now, what countries are these we're talking about?
This was Cote d'Ivoire, Ghana. This was Togo. There was some fishermen from Eastern Africa as well.
Oh, wow.
They all connected on social media. They just said all at once, we're not going to fish for you until wages go up. And they went and had Cote d'Ivoire came in with arbitrations. Within 4 days, they agreed to more than double the wages and reduce the work hours for every single fisherman that was working the European routes for West Africa. So, with a little negotiation, with a smallest amount of collective bargaining, they were able to double their wages. Now, this deal is only going to last until later this year, till the end of this fishing season. They didn't want to lose their fishing season, but the projections right now are, if they go back to the negotiating table again, that it's going to go between $600 and $800 a month, which is going to represent a 300 to 400% increase in the wages for those fishermen. That's the thing about it from my standpoint is I'm investing in the residential real estate of West Africa. The higher the wages are, the higher prices and rents will be pushed up in the area. I get some benefit from that. So I want to see people collectively bargaining. I want to see wages go up by any means necessary.
So these guys get much better deals than what UAW is getting for Ford and GM.
Listen, I would say that the Africans at this place, or in this instance, they did a better job negotiating. It's just a matter of, will they be able to continue this negotiation or will they backslide? So as long as they stay unified, I think that we're going to see wages continue to go up, and I think it'll be copied by other industries, the mining industry, timber industry. I think those are two other big areas where we're going to see wages go up when the workers start to negotiate collectively. If they don't negotiate collectively, they're just going to be picked apart one by one. But if they unify, I think they're going to do extremely well, which is going to bode well for the economies.
Yeah, talking about the timber industry, I work for a company that manufactures products made out of teak. So we can have a side conversation about that.
About the thickness and the manufacturing.
Yeah, because there's a lot of teak, in Eastern Africa. I think there used to be Elgon teak in Kenya, in Uganda, in South Sudan. There's a lot of teak, and this is very expensive stuff. But there's no proper industry. Most of the wood stuff built out of wood is still very cottage. Mm-hmm. There's no proper industry. Like, if, for example, a hotel calls and they tell you, we need 50 tables and 200 chairs within 3 weeks. Mm-hmm.
That's a tough order to fulfill.
Oh yes, we do have now this, because companies here, know how to do that. They know they have capacity. They're prepared, for orders like those to come. So they already have things in place, and I think these are the things that are slowly working themselves up within the African market, where we could start, building a lot of these products.
If you guys recall, wasn't there a time John Alaname was doing an investigation on?
Yes, it's called conflict teak. This is teak harvested from South Sudan.
Yes, that one.
Yeah, and it makes its way. It's illegal in the U.S.
Yeah.
The USDA will stop it at the ports, but this teak finds its way to Thailand. It finds its way to some Asian countries, and it hasn't gone through the process, so there's no guarantees on the quality of teak that you're getting. But yes, there's a lot of teak.
When you say through the process, what do you mean?
So there's a process that teak goes through before it's ready to build. It's a very oily wood. Mm-hmm. It has to sit in a kiln. First of all, it has to be between 40 to 45 years old. The tree itself, when it's cut, that's the optimal. Yep. That's the optimal time to cut a tree. So the tree has to be right in age, and then it has to be fired in a kiln for up to 6 months to get rid of the excess oil. What? Because you don't want to be sitting on oil, because it keeps oozing. But you have to leave enough oil for the chair, because the oil is what keeps the chair. It's a live wood, so the wood is live. So that's what keeps the chair lasting for 25, 30, 40 years. So you have to leave the right amount of oil such that when someone is sitting on a bench, they're not sitting on a bench with oil on it. So there's a whole process that I can talk about, but then, I'll have to give you guys an invoice. I don't think the two of you guys can afford me. I don't know about Brad, but the two of you...
really? Really? Ali, this is where we have got it.
In the words of an esteemed elder, Vie Okiomaga, you can go dry.
Okay, all right.
No, it's okay. Vayes says DRC has suffered political instability for their resources. Trish says Africans are programmed to be compliant and not to challenge authority. Our flower industry pays Kenyans slave wages. That's Esther Mulusa. And Washeke says Ali amekula edibles nyingi sana mpaka sauti inapotea.
Yeah, you guys have to be nice to me today. I'm sick, so all of you have to be nice to me.
So amekula edibles.